It's me! You know who I am. That guy. Deconverted man. That's right. I know sometimes people don't want to say my name, but, anyways. Here's a video I found called Real Evidence for God's Existence by Urfriendlyhood. I think I've dealt with him before. Does he have any evidence for God's existence? Does he have any evidence for anything? Well, the answer is going to be no, but we're going to have fun with this video anyways. And by we, I mean me. Actually, you. Hopefully you will be entertained by me as I go insane listening to his drivel. Here we go.
To make a video for the proof of God. For those of you that don't know already, I'm a Christian. I am a believer that Jesus Christ rose from the dead some 2,000 years ago. I'm a believer that God exists. I'm a believer that we live in a universe which has meaning. And not only that, but I would consider myself like a Christian fundamentalist, right? I believe that the Bible is 100% true. And I see there's a lot of people that...
Which version of the Bible?
Watch my videos, which are all like Christian oriented. I just teach people about Christianity on here. And I see a lot of people who watch my videos, they like what I'm saying, but they're very conflicted about actually converting to Christianity. They feel as though they have to have this 100% knowing. I know for sure God exists.
Hey, haven't we heard this whole idea of I need to know 100% sure before? Pretty sure it's come up. I don't know about that, but yeah, being sure about something would be a good idea. I mean, I want to know that something is true before I, invest my time, energy, and effort into it. I just want to know that it's true. I don't need to put a label like 100%, but I do want, to know that it's true. So the only way I'm going to know it's true is empirical evidence, a repeatable test, and or a logically sound argument that has no logical fallacies. It's valid and sound. I don't think you'll have any of that, but, I know he's not going to have any of that, but, here we go.
Proven God exists, I know for sure. And so many people before me have set out to prove God's existence, and they talk about how evolution doesn't exactly make sense. If you look,
and those people are wrong. And they're just wrong. Evolution doesn't make sense. Well, that's appeal to personal incredulity. Evolution does make sense. You just have to study it. Morons. I'm saying morons because they don't study it. They like being ignorant. They want to remain ignorant because it's just easier to say God done it than to understand evolution. Just saying.
At like our chromosomes, for example, and you have an understanding of how sexual reproduction works. Evolution is not something that could have possibly happened. And there's
wrong. It does happen all the time. It's happening right now. You are a chain in evolution. If you have descendants, if you have offspring, they are part of that chain. You cannot escape it. It's everywhere you look. Anything that is living is evolving. In fact, even non-living things change over time slowly. It's just they do so through different effects. So yeah, it's absolutely, evolution is completely true, and you're kind of moronic for saying it's not. But I didn't expect much from you. Anyways, so other than you being dumb about evolution, do you have any actual evidence for your idea here?
There's like a lot of good evidence for that. Yeah, I'm not disputing that. Obviously, I'm a Christian, so I believe evolution's false. And then there's argument.
Obviously, I'm a creationist. All right, okay, so you're stupid, and you're happy with that. All right, because I'm just calling creationists stupid. I've given up on that. Yeah, they're stupid, and their arguments are full of crap. Just to make sure that I'm not just relying on the ad hominem them. Their arguments are full of crap, and they're also stupid. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, okay. Do you have any evidence yet?
Arguments like the Kalam cosmological argument, where
Oh, God. See my video, KCA. It's literally labeled KCA. I go over the multiple logical errors and problems of the argument in that video. I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, I guess I could have done it better, but whatever. I'm done with the KCA. It proves nothing. In fact, he's going to say what it does, which it doesn't even do that.
they're talking about how the material world must have came from something immaterial, because
Nope, that's not what the KCA says. You're just wrong. So you don't even know what the argument actually says. Great job.
things don't come into existence on their own. But I honestly find a lot of this argumentation to be retarded. See, at one time
Well, there's your problem.
I was an atheist. I wasn't all.
Nah, I don't know about that. I don't know that you were an atheist. And if you were, you weren't the sort of atheist that I've encountered. Just saying.
Always a Christian, though a lot of people think I've always been a Christian because my content is just so deep. But I've only been a Christian for 3 years, and before that I would have considered myself like agnostic or an atheist or something like that. And I'll tell you, things like the Kalam videos trying to disprove evolution, things even proving the historical validity of the Gospels isn't what.
Yeah, all of those fail for different reasons.
That convinced me that God's real. See,
Okay.
I think the Kalam cosmological argument, debates about the historicity of the Bible, did Noah's flood actually happen?
No, Noah's flood did not happen at all. And then there's no Noah. So no to that.
Really trapped up in this idea of like factual knowledge.
Yeah.
You can know
factual knowledge. I mean, that's kind of important. But oh man, you're trapped in the wanting all that factual knowledge. Oh, okay.
Something for sure, that there is an objective truth. I believe there's an objective truth, but I don't think that you can find objective truth from scientific studies. I think.
Well, that's because you're just wrong about that, and you don't understand it. So okay. Anyway, so how can you find objective truth? Please explain your methodology. I'm sure it will be very enlightened and well explained for us.
Anyone who bases any of their beliefs on science and on scientific studies, anyone who listens to Neil deGrasse Tyson or Bill Nye, is essentially just forming a religious belief. See, like,
wow, that's an interesting QQ. But I mean, if you just listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson and or Bill Nye, you're not going to get a lot of information because they're science communicators. Bill Nye is, even more of a science communicator. He's not. Well, I mean, he's done a few things with science, but I would more be willing to call Neil a scientist than Bill Nye. But actual scientists, they don't necessarily communicate their ideas that well to the public. So, they serve a function. But if you just believe them without any investigation, without any research, then you're not performing the scientific methodology that they are utilizing. And they will tell you, they'll be the first ones to tell you, don't just listen to them. Don't just believe them. Look into it for yourself. Examine it for yourself. Look into the information yourself. Make sure. See if I'm wrong. That's what they will tell you. But the theist, I doubt, will ever say that. Oh, maybe I could be wrong. Look into it. Especially if you're an apologist like this guy. You don't want people to look into it because they'd find out you're full of garbage and that you don't have anything to offer, especially no legitimate information. But as far as religion goes, no. Well, I mean, just believing somebody is not a good idea. I don't think it would be a religion, but it's certainly not a good idea to do. But yeah, are you saying that religion is bad? If so, I agree. Then we shouldn't have any one religion. So we shouldn't listen to one guy like you tell us stuff. But at least when the scientists or the science communicators tell us something, it's usually based on, that whole objective fact thing that you were complaining about earlier.
Most people believe the earth is round. We're living on a ball. And
It's an obloid spheroid, technically. You know, just saying. Yeah. But yeah, sphere is good enough.
believe that too. But I'm not going to say for a second that I know for sure the earth is round.
And that's just kind of moronic. I will say 100%, I am sure that the Earth is an obloid spheroid. No doubt at all. I don't like giving percentages to statements. I think it's silly to do so, but I have absolutely no problem in saying that. But yeah, you do. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so are you ever gonna get the evidence? Just wondering.
I'm not going to say for a second that I know the earth isn't flat because I've never gone up in a spaceship and went up into the orbit of earth to see whether or not earth is round or not.
Wow. You don't need to do that yourself to know that it's. Oh, fuck. No, whatever.
And the fact is that if you haven't done that, you can't know. But even though
No, there's plenty of ways to know that it's to know that it's a sphere without having to go up into space. I mean, you don't even have to go up that high to see the curvature. But there's plenty of experiments you can do. Just get a laser pointer. Now, you're going to have to get a fairly powerful one, but get something that detects the laser pointer and go to a relatively flat, lake somewhere and have somebody on the other side to get the measurement. And then there's, you flatten out the area as best you can, and you line up the laser pointer with the marker on the other side. And if it was not a sphere, you would get one sort of reading, and if it is a sphere, you'll get a different kind of reading. And guess what? Every time it's been done, it shows it's a freaking sphere. In fact, bridges have to be built, if they're long enough, with the fact that the planet's a sphere in mind. So there's plenty of ways to know that it's a sphere without just going up and looking for yourself. But this is simplistic thinking 101. Anyways, I'm hoping that you stop proving that you're a moron and just give us the evidence for God that you think that you have.
most people have never seen the shape of the earth, everyone is convinced that the earth is round. Why are they convinced the earth is round? I'm not saying that it's
empirical evidence
to believe that, but the reason why people are convinced the earth is round is because the experts have told us that the earth
no, if you do that, it's called an appeal to expertise, and it's another logical fallacy. If that's why people are thinking that something is true, that's a bad thing. So if you're then saying, well, we shouldn't just agree with experts willy-nilly, yeah, and we shouldn't agree with laymen willy-nilly. But when the expert says something, they're probably basing it on some sort of thing that can be shown to be a thing. Otherwise, they'd be blown out of the water by other experts, wouldn't they? Anyways, just keep talking, digging yourself in deeper.
earth is round. So essentially, people are not actually trusting in facts. They don't know the facts. What people are doing is they're trusting in essentially this priestly clerical group known as the scientists.
The equivocation and the QQQs. Yes, it's all a religion. Everything is religion, like my religion. There, now we're all equal. But my religion is true and your religion isn't. No, that's not how it works. Anyways.
Or the modern day priests, and they'll just believe whatever these high priests tell them to believe. The fact is, you don't know if the earth is round or if the earth is flat. You don't know atoms exist.
Yes,
you don't know that your hand is made out of atoms.
Yes, no, I do know that. You're just a moron. That's your problem. You don't know that. Okay. Anyways, so I'm waiting for the real evidence, but I mean, you're proving that you're a real moron, but okay, what do you got?
Been told your hand is made out of atoms by trustworthy sources.
Okay, so you put quotes around it. Yeah. So you believe there's a God from, quote, trustworthy sources, end quote, right? I can do the same thing. Oh, no, there must not be a God. because the only reason you don't believe it is because it's in the Bible. And how do you know the Bible is the Word of God? Well, trusted sources have told you that it is, right? Yeah, moronic.
Otherwise known as religious authorities, who have done the research for you and are telling you what the state of reality is. So we just have a bunch of beliefs. No one actually knows anything unless they experience it for themselves. So
That's not even remotely true, not even a little. There's plenty of things that you can know without experiencing it yourself. Wow. So this whole thing is going to be an argument from personal experience, eh? Is that what it's going to lead to? I guess. All right. Let's hear it.
So I don't think it's really useful to argue about whether or not God is real, whether or not the Bible is factual or truthful, because the fact is we believe a lot of things that are not based in fact or truth. And for most of you, if you were living about 500 years ago, you would believe that the sun revolves around the earth, and you would persecute me for saying that the earth revolves around the sun. And
500 years ago? A little bit more than that. But you know who it was that persecuted people for that? Christians and Catholics. Yeah, you guys did that. And why? Because Earth had to be the center of everything. The sun being the center didn't make sense in theology. They didn't like that. But people with actual evidence said, hey, you guys are wrong. And they said, oh, no, we don't like you and your facts. So they just, killed or imprisoned whoever they didn't like because they were protecting their beliefs. Interesting how that's backwards from what you said. But, whatever.
And I'm not saying you're an immoral person or you're this follower or something, or that I'm even better than you. I'm as superstitious as you, and I'm as given.
I'm not superstitious at all. So, and the thing is, when you're a skeptic, it's funny how, like, none of those superstitions, like, they don't affect you anymore. Like, it's amazing how nothing supernatural has happened to me since I've become a skeptic. Nothing really, like, I just can't explain it. It's like all that stuff only happened when I was a believer. I don't know. Just a observation I've made in life. Anyways, back to your non-evidence for anything. Keep going.
To peer pressure as you are for most things. A lot of the reason we believe the earth is round is basically just because peer pressure, right?
No.
You don't want to be seen as some weirdo that's a conspiracy theorist that believes something unreasonable. But the point that I'm trying to make is that the truth doesn't really matter. Whether or not the event...
Wow, the truth doesn't really matter. And he called his video real evidence for God's existence. But the truth doesn't really matter, everybody. Heard it from him first. The truth doesn't really matter. So who cares then? Wow.
Events of like Genesis with Noah's flood or Moses parting the Red Sea is a factual thing that really historically did happen. Doesn't really matter,
it doesn't matter
at all.
Yeah,
and the fact is, you will never know unless you invent a time machine to go back in time to see it for yourself. You will never know if Moses actually parted the Red Sea. You will.
Well, you can know that this is completely impossible to happen. Well, without magic at any rate, because people don't have that superpower. That's basically what it is. But it wasn't Moses. It wasn't Moses doing it. It was God doing it. I don't know why God didn't just teleport them from one side to the other. But there's been an attempt or two to give it a naturalistic explanation of what might have happened for this story. That maybe maybe where they crossed was very, very shallow, and there was a strong wind blowing that allowed them to pass. Sure, but it's more likely that the story is just made up and bullshit. There's no evidence that magic happens today, so there's zero reason to believe that it happened long ago. So you can know for a certainty that magic or miracles don't happen because you have no modern example of them happening. And you can keep knowing for sure that they don't happen until somebody presents a miraculous event that they can demonstrably demonstrate is miraculous. And nobody's done that because they're not a thing.
We'll never know if there was a global flood. The only things we can truly know.
Now, you can absolutely know that there was never a global flood because there's zero evidence that there was and plenty of evidence that there wasn't. And there's plenty of reasons to know in multiple different ways that the global flood never happened and couldn't have happened ever. Period. End of story. Couldn't have happened.
Know and understand are the things which we experience. And through our own personal experiences, we can extrapolate out and figure out how other people experience the world. But the fact
Sometimes, but not always. But it's not a good argument for anything, but keep going. Yeah.
fact is that if you haven't seen something for yourself, you cannot truly know that something happened or that
Again, not true, but keep going.
something exists. But what we can understand, what we can know for sure is the human experience, because we are all human. Whoever's watching this is most likely a human, I would hope.
Nah, I'm a lobster.
And so we have our own experiences, our own emotions, our own anguish, our own stories. And that's something that is universal. That's something that we can establish as being true. And that is a universal truth.
But you said truth doesn't matter, so
we can know for sure. And we all know that if you got stabbed in the stomach, it would be a negative experience. If someone ran up with an axe and chopped it right into your leg, I don't think you'd be very happy. I think you'd be very sad. I think that would...
Well, I don't know. Depends on the personality.
Be a negative experience. It would make your life a lot worse. No one's going to say their life has been improved by an insane axe murderer wearing a red Sunday school hoodie that you can buy on urfriendlyhood.com and a God is Alive hat. And
it's all about that merchandising. Well, fuck, if you're going to do it, I'll do it too. You can buy my book, Caught Between an Infinite Hope and a Finite Despair on Amazon. There. Yeah, you know what? You can't know. Yeah, that's a great point, Snuffy Wuffikus. You can't know that your mom and dad ever had sex because you never saw them have sex. So you can't know that for sure. I mean, yeah, you exist, but you don't know. Well, but the people that call themselves your parents, you don't know that they're your parents because you never saw them conceive you and you never saw them, your mom give birth to you. So you can't know. Oh, that's a good comment. I'm going to leave that comment. That is such a good comment. You can't know that your mom and dad had sex because you never saw it. Oh, so dumb. Oh, what a moron. Okay.
Camo that you can also buy at urfriendlyhood.com. No one's going to say that their life was improved by getting axed to death by an axe murderer.
Well, if you're dead, then no, you can't say anything at all because you're fucking dead. Jeez. Golly. Anyways.
That looks exactly like me. It's me. I killed them. 1989. Right, my point is that there still is an objective truth. There is still a greater reality. We aren't just living in a subjective reality with only subjective truth.
You said the truth didn't matter earlier.
There is a universal truth because all humans, if you eat good food, all people who eat something that tastes yummy are going to be happy. They're going to have a positive experience from eating good food. All people...
Well, maybe, but eventually if you keep on doing that, you'll get fat. Then you won't be that happy anymore. There's a limit. Just saying. Anyways, yeah.
people who are parents, if
I
their
wish you'd
son
give us the
dies,
evidence.
are going
Give
to
us
be
the
very
evidence
sad. If you get
already.
injured, if you break
Oh
your leg,
my
it's going
word.
to always be painful. You're always going to have a negative experience. It will not be a positive experience, right? There's a universal human experience. There's an objective reality. And I think the goal of all people, regardless of where you are, regardless of what religion you're a part of, or if you're a part of no religion at all, we are all trying to increase our quality of life. We might not all do it very well. We might end up getting ourselves trapped in a pit of suffering. We might end up making the world worse as a whole. But all people are trying to make the world better. No one's going out there and just going out of their way to make the world worse. And the few
Well, I don't know. There sure do seem like there's people that are trying to make it worse, at least for other people. But it's funny that because you're a backwards creationist, you actually are contributing the world to be a worse place than it otherwise would be, where you're promoting science. But you're not. You're anti-science. You're calling it a religion. You're doing all this stuff that turns people away from science, and that makes the world a far worse place than it otherwise would be. You're not a positive voice for change. You're a negative voice against change. So, yeah, you're an example of somebody making the world a worse place. You still don't have any evidence for God. So, I'm just saying though, you're making the world a worse place. Good job, I guess. I mean, not a good job. Bad job. I don't know.
few people that are going out of the way to make the world worse are only doing it because they think it will make their suffering lessened if everyone else is suffering. So no one really does something out of just trying to be evil. No one does something out of just trying to make the world suffer. People are trying to make their
There have been people that have done things to try to just get people to suffer. You know, like take the different school shootings. Like if you read this, like when they have manifestos and they're released to the public or whatever, you read through it and it's like, I want to make people suffer. I want them to hurt as much as I've hurt. I want to hurt the people that hurt me. I deserved X, Y, and Z, and I never got it. And so they're gonna get it. They're gonna hurt. They're gonna suffer because I want them to. They absolutely want people to suffer. So what you're saying is just not right. It's not true. But, who cares about truth, like you said earlier? Yeah.
experience and maybe the collective experience of humanity better for everyone else. And like I just established, there are things that objectively will always make your human experience worse. And there are objectively things that will always make your life experience better. No one's going to say that they like vomiting and shitting diarrhea at the same time. There's an objective morality, essentially, right? If we base morality on
I wouldn't call that morality. That's like yuck factor. And yeah, there are people that have diarrhea and vomiting fetishes. A few, not a lot, but they're out there. Now, I don't know if they enjoy it themselves or like seeing other people do it or what the deal is, but you can't say that it's not a thing completely. I mean, yeah, you could say it's in the extraordinary minority, maybe, but yeah, look, I'm just pointing out everything that he's saying is wrong. But I mean, that's his whole video. It's been everything he said is wrong. So, I'm just gonna keep pointing out that everything that he says is wrong whenever it's wrong. That's why we're gonna be here all day, folks.
the idea that we're trying to make humanity better and we're trying to make life less suffering, there is an objective morality. There are things that objectively will make the world worse and things that will objectively make the world better.
Now, see, I do actually agree that there is an objective way to make things better in terms of quality of life. If you're calling that morality, then sure, I would agree. The ethical system would be another question we'd have to answer. But yeah, there's objective ways to make things better for all life, not just human life. Well, I guess if you said, hey, let's make it better for humans, then you are including other life, because in order to get the maximum well-being of humans, you also have to consider other life and the environment, because we kind of need the environment to live, and we need nature, and we are nature. We're all part of that. So yeah, I mean, anyways, yeah, there's an objective thing. I wouldn't say morality per se, but sure, we'll agree with that. Where's God? Where's the evidence? Please give us the evidence of God. Is it going to be morality being objective? I mean, because we didn't need God to agree with that. So I don't know.
Objective hierarchy, and we are designed, whether it be by evolution or whether it be by a god or whatever
No. We aren't designed by evolution.
forces, aliens, we are designed to abide by the laws of this morality. And when you sit down and you consider the things that will make your life better or make your life worse, the things that will make the world better, make society better, or make society worse, it very accurately aligns with Christian morality. For example, the Ten Commandments, right?
No, it doesn't. Let's go over the Ten Commandments, though. This should be great because I want to hear this. I want to see how he thinks. But I wonder which set. I bet it's not going to be the 10th commandment where it's boiling the whatever in the milk of the whatever the bleep it is. The goat, is it the goat's milk? I don't remember. But there's a different set of 10 commandments. But I'm interested in seeing how every 10 commandment can be shown to be objectively good for quality of life. This is going to be interesting. Who's going to bet that he's not going to list all 10? I'm going to bet that he's not going to list all 10. Let's just see, though. Okay, so my first bet, he's not going to use the set of 10 commandments that talks about boiling the goat and the mother's milk, or whatever the bleep that one is. I don't remember. Is it goat, boil, goat, mother's milk? Do not, yeah, it is. Yeah, do not boil a young goat's mother's milk. Exodus 23:19, 34:23, or 34:26, and Deuteronomy 14:21. Yeah, don't boil young goats in its mother's milk. So don't do that. It's prohibited. So yeah, don't. That was one of the 10 commandments until it wasn't. Anyways, please do demonstrate this. This is gonna be good. Here we go.
The 10 Commandments, they say, "Thou shalt not kill."
Okay, that all right. Yeah, yes. He skipped. Remember, I said I bet he's gonna not give them all. Yeah. You know what number "thou shalt not kill" is? Oh yeah. Let's see. Is it the first one? No. It's the second one? No. Is it the third one? No, it's not. Is it the fourth one? Nope. 5? Nope. It's number 6. 6 until you get to "thou shalt not kill." Wow, it's way down there on the list. You skipped over 5 commandments to get to the 6th one. Wow, amazing. Man, I love being right.
You murder someone, number one, that's going to cause suffering for the person being murdered. But not only that, it's going to cause your life to become suffering.
You know what? I got to pause. I got to leave another comment, even though he's going to ignore it. Hey, skipping 1 through 5 commands. Wow. Did I spell commandments right? I don't know how to spell anything. Yes, I did. Okay.
Going to start to have a lot of fear. You have the fear of being found out. You have the guilt of killing this person. Eventually,
murder's a legal term. Kill, yeah. Well, you see, some Bibles, stuff he brings up, kill is not murder. Murder is a legal term. Some Bibles have it to say murder because later in the Bible, God does tell people to kill. He says, stone people to death for doing the whatever the bleep. Take them to the edge of town and stone them to death. So he is telling people to kill people for not doing the law, for breaking the law. So some Bibles change it to "thou shalt not murder" rather than "thou shalt not kill," so they can create a loophole and say, well, murder is illegal killing. See, when it's legal killing, that's fine. Because, otherwise, how could you go to war, right? You could never fight a war because you couldn't kill your opponent. You could hurt them, but you couldn't kill them. And that's going to, make your side, not as able to win a war, So you have to change that somehow in the Bible. You have to find some way around that. Anyways,
if people figure out that you killed this person, they're going to hunt you down and kill you. It eventually leads to your death. Objectively, we can say murder is bad. It makes your life worse. It makes society worse. It is objectively bad. You will suffer more. It will make your life more suffering and make the world more suffering if you kill someone unjustly. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not steal." And stealing essentially has the same.
All right. So let's see. Let's see. So he skips not committing adultery to "Thou shalt not steal," which is number 8. Now, here's the problem, though. Okay, because there are situations where stealing could be morally permissible if doing so will have a net benefit gain to a significant amount of people. It might be okay in that situation. And stealing is, to some extent, subjective. Now, what makes something yours? I got to get back to reading this book I was reading called Mine! Exclamation point, which talks about how we decide that something is mine. How do I decide that the thing that's mine is mine? When does it stop being mine? If you observe somebody's wallet fall out of their pocket onto the street, you pick that up, you give it back to them. That's like the right thing to do. But if you didn't observe them dropping it, you didn't see who dropped it, you pick it up and you go, okay, well, maybe I'll look inside, see if there's an ID and try to get it back to them. Maybe I'll give it to the police or maybe I'll do it myself. What if there's no ID, but there's money in there? Well, you could still turn it into the police. And then, if nobody claims it after a certain amount of time, then it becomes yours. Right? So when does it, how do we decide that? It's a complicated philosophical thing that we've tried to codify into law to some extent. What makes the thing mine is, well, a law, basically. So if the law is that you are mine, and then you run away, you are stealing from me because I own you. So you shall not steal now becomes something that, no, you should run away from me because me owning you is bad. Because ownership of another person is a bad thing, in my view. So I think that it's a moral imperative that the person get away from that other person. So depending on how you view stealing, yeah, it can be okay given certain circumstances. Now, again, it depends. There's a lot of nuance there. What if you're starving to death? Is taking food from a plate when the people have left the restaurant and they left some food that wasn't touched, they didn't touch it, they didn't eat it, it's perfectly good food otherwise, and you just scoop some of that and take that and eat it. Well, is that theft? Look, the restaurant's going to throw it out, so you might as well eat it, right? Now, why can't the restaurant just give it to you? Well, because there's laws that regulate that stuff. Why? Because reasons, But is it theft? Well, I don't know. So what makes it stealing? Well, that's all subject to the laws that we create, meaning that this is not objective. It is extraordinarily subjective. Anyways, whatever, But yeah, broadly speaking, stealing can lead to negative things.
problems that murder does. You steal from someone, people are going to hunt you down. You're going to have to constantly be looking over your shoulder. You have to constantly be covering up your tracks. It makes your life suffering. It also hurts the people who are stolen from. It makes their lives suffering. And overall, in a society where everyone steals, life is going to constantly be suffering. Thou shalt not commit adultery. That word adultery, it means cheating on your wife or cheating on your husband.
Well, now you're just skipping around because adultery was before not stealing. But yeah, not committing adultery. Well, yeah, that'd be nice. People do it. But here's the thing. Now, if you're not married, can you commit adultery? I mean, if you have sex and you're not married, and the other person's not married, is that adultery? Is lust adultery? What is adultery? Depends who you ask, doesn't it? Making this highly subjective. But yeah, broadly speaking, if you cheat on somebody that you're with, whether or not you're married to them, yeah, that's going to probably cause some bad feelings.
If you cheat on your husband or you cheat on your wife, it's going to cause a lot of guilt and shame. It's going to cause a lot of problems for your life because, for example, you're going to have to cover up the fact that you slept with this woman. And then you're going to have to worry about this woman having an attachment to you. And
well, no, see, what you do is you kill them and then you eliminate that problem. Okay, that brings a different problem. But then you steal to cover up that murder. And then, wait, sorry. Bad advice.
Trying to break up your marriage, you're going to have all kinds of problems in your life. It's going to objectively make your life worse. Being jealous even makes your life worse. That's a sin. Thou shalt not covet.
Let's see. Yeah, that is one version of the 10th commandment. So it is not to covet. So I don't know if that's being jealous per se, but we do covet. We want what other people have. We do that all the time. So, I mean, you covet views and likes and subs, and you covet money because you want people to buy merchandise from you. So you're breaking this all the time. So I don't think that this is an objective standard at all. I don't know that I think that in certain circumstances coveting could lead to negative consequences, but in other circumstances coveting could lead to very positive consequences. It just depends on what it is, what the extreme is, etc. Now, if you're involving humans and feelings in it, then yeah, it could lead to some sort of consequences or whatever. Emotions are more difficult to deal with than just pure logic or whatever alone. So it's a gray area there. But because it's gray area, that means it's not objective. So I reject this idea. But none of this proves God yet. So,
and commandments, and that'll make your life worse, because if you're constantly comparing yourself to the successes of others, you will never be happy because you will always feel as though you are lesser than everyone else.
Well, maybe or maybe not. It might make you strive to be better. Who knows? Depends on your personality type.
Sin makes you unhappy, and even the ones that you might think are questionable, like homosexuality being a sin. This might be controversial, but I've never really met someone who is truly happy as a homosexual. Every gay
whoa, where did that come from? Holy shit. Fuck you. Fuck off. You know what? You're a garbage person. I don't like you. And your argument, you don't even have one for me to say that it sucks. Even if it's true that you've never met anyone that's happy, that doesn't mean anything. But I don't think, wait, how have you met gay people anyways? And the more you are against homosexuals, the more likely means you are a homosexual. So just saying there, you might be gay. I don't know. You're not my type, so I can't tell you that you could suck mine. You're not that attractive to me. Mostly because you're stupid. I'm attracted to intelligence, so I definitely wouldn't be attracted to you. Now, Kazumi on the other hand, oh wait, I'm getting off track again.
I've known a lot of them. They were
No, you
always carving up their arms with a razor blade, carving up their
Wow.
legs with a razor blade. They hated themselves. They all
Yeah.
also had sexual trauma in their past,
Oh, my
every
God.
single one of them.
No, that's not true, and I don't. And even if it was, it doesn't. Jeez, there's all sorts of fallacies now that you're committing. But whatever. You know, you don't understand homosexuality, and you're against it because you're a stupid creationist fundamentalist. Got it.
Whether it be from pornography or whether it be a rape or something else.
Oh,
These
my
were not
Lord.
happy people. So even things
Oh,
like that,
shut
even
up.
things like being a homosexual, which is considered a sin, it makes
No, it's actually, and here's how you're ignorant of the Bible, you moronic, stupid piece of shit. Bible doesn't talk about homosexuality. I know that the modern version has that in there, but it wasn't in there originally. And if you actually bothered to read the context, you would see that it wasn't against that. It was giving out rules for how to be a priest. You know, it's talking unusually about like men and kids and stuff like this. So the term just wasn't there. It was put in later. But you're a typical fundy, so you don't understand it. You think it's a sin, and then you think that people are miserable. And people like you make them miserable, maybe, because you're a piece of shit. How about this? Here's an idea. I don't know, just an idea. Don't judge others. I thought that was in the Bible. You know, that's an idea. Maybe you're making their lives miserable by saying what you're doing is a sin when it isn't. What they're doing is perfectly fine. Being homosexual, fine. Actually, and now of course the strongest argument is, well, what about lesbians? Because you could say, well, it definitely says don't lie with a man and another man, but it says nothing about women. So lesbians are apparently okay. And the Jewish people, they're like, yeah, we don't know what to do with that. So I don't know, you know. But they're quieter about it. They're like more conservative about like putting it out there. It's really only the fundy Christies that are anti-homosexual because they're, you know, well, they're you know, their Bible says it, and then they use that to justify their bigotry. Anyways, he's a big giant pile of shit, but he also has no argument. Let's keep going.
Makes your life worse. It makes the world more full of suffering. And
Yeah,
what does
that's exactly what you're doing, buddy.
Bible say? The Bible doesn't say that God commanded us to follow these things arbitrarily. No, the Bible says that God commands us these things for our own good. As it's
Does it? Where does it say that? Let's see if you're a decent theist and at least can give us the verse where it says that. My bet is he won't, because he's a bad theist on top of everything else.
says in Romans 6.
Oh, I did. Damn it, I lost that bet.
The wages of sin.
No, he didn't say what he said earlier. That doesn't say what he just said. I was right. I won my bet. Yay!
Is death. What that means is that
stupid.
if you pursue.
Wait, did you just not even say the thing that you put on the screen? How big of a moron are you? My God. Jeez.
These things for our
Anyways,
sinning, STD, and you're gonna die. If you
wait.
if given enough time, lead to your death. If you sleep around with enough girls or enough men, eventually you're gonna catch an STD and you're gonna die. If you
you don't die from STDs unless like maybe you're in a third world country. Like the only one that you might die from would be HIV that causes AIDS, but there's treatments for that. So unless you can't get that treatment, you're not going to die from it. I mean, yeah, back in the 80s, that was a thing. A lot of people did die, but not anymore. Like, nobody dies from this. What the fuck? Your information is way out of fucking date. You're a moron, man. I don't know, I've said that a bunch. Usually I don't ad hominem people, but this guy's just crummy. He's just a crummy human. And also, he doesn't have any evidence for God. Now, don't blame me. It's not my fault. I didn't know what this video contained until I started watching it. Now, true, I could have just ended the video, but we're not done yet. I'm not done with his video. I got to complain about the whole damn thing.
kill people, eventually it's going to catch up to you, and someone's either going to kill you, you're going to be executed, or you're going to rot in jail forever. All sin makes your life worse. And this is my greatest proof of God. This is what proved to me that God's real. This argumentation about whether or not evolution is factual. I mean, I've talked about that before, and I think evolution didn't happen. I've done a
Yeah, you're a moron. Got it.
couple videos on it, but that didn't prove to me God's real. What proved to me God is real is that human beings all have a universal experience. We do evidently have a nature inbuilt in us that,
but we don't. That hasn't been demonstrated. Not even a little. Well, depending on what you mean. But the thing is, different people behave in different ways depending on where they were born and how they were raised. Now, there has been and continues to be the nurture versus nature debate. Twin studies, which are not that, there's something, identical twin studies, not a lot of data because there's not a lot of people to study, but have shown that the twins typically do make similar choices, which means that nature is winning over nurture in that case. Can we extrapolate outward from that? I don't think so, because the numbers just aren't there. But even if you could show somehow that we all had this inner built thing, that doesn't mean it's from God. It could also be that we've all evolved to that point because that works the best, broadly speaking. And evolution generalizes on many factors, including certain traits that would be things that we'd be born with. But as far as figuring out what it is that we're really born with having, we can't even really do that study because it would be ethically wrong to raise humans without humans. You could figure out a way to do it. Don't get me wrong. You could give babies milk and, change their diaper, yada, yada, with like minimal human contact. But no ethical board would sign up for it. And you would have somebody unable to communicate at the end of the day. And so what would that mean? So the problem is you have no comparison for your hypothetical study that you haven't even done anyways, or even looked up in the first place, nor would you comprehend even if you did look it up, because you're a complete and utter moron, as I've already said many times. And also, you don't have an argument. So none of this means there's an argument. None of this proves God, not even a little. And a lot of what you said has been, well, pretty much everything you've said has been wrong. So yeah, I'm thoroughly unimpressed. Keep going.
there are things that will always make your life worse and things that will always make your life better. There are things that will always eventually lead to your death and things that will always increase your health,
I hate to break it to you, buddy, but everything eventually will lead to death. Like, there's fucking no way to avoid the damn thing. Now, scientists are working hard on the CRISPR technology, and I'm sure at some point, maybe within our lifetime, I can hope, they will release to the public. Maybe it will cost a bit, but hopefully we'll get it. A way to make it that we stop aging. Not only that we stop aging, but we start de-aging. Now, obviously, it's going to stop at some point because we're not going to want to keep de-aging, and we'll basically effectively be immortal in that sense. We won't die from old age. Well, we don't die from old age. We die from things that are associated with getting old, but we wouldn't have those problems. The genetics of it would be sorted out. We'd have young DNA that doesn't create copy errors. That would solve a lot of physical problems. We could figure out how to genetically clone organs, yada, yada, yada. And so that we could have backups for all of our internal systems. And so we effectively would live forever. But here's the problem: the longer you live, the more likely it is that something is going to kill you that's out there that can kill you, because we have other things that can kill us, and so the likelihood goes up for the longer that you exist, which is pretty darn intimidating. Say you've been around 200 years. That's 100 more than anyone's been, but you know that's pretty darn good. You've beaten the odds, and you're not driving anywhere because you know how dangerous that is. So you have to avoid a lot of things. But also, you have to be careful about eating because you might choke. And then you have to be careful that nothing falls on your house and crushes you, or that a stray vehicle doesn't go through your entire house or some shit. But there's something that's going to get you eventually if you live long enough. And then eventually, if you do live long enough, the sun will kill us all anyways, because it's going to get so freaking big that it will eat the earth. Of course, maybe we've evacuated the earth before that happened, but then if we live long enough, well, we're going to have to deal with the heat death of the universe and figure out how to stop that from killing us all. So there's always something to worry about. Where was I? Oh, yeah, you're wrong about everything. Okay, keep going.
Your vitality. And why I think that so clearly proves God is because the objective morality, this clearly observable fact that all people can attest to, aligns precisely with the Christian morality. And
No, it doesn't align precisely. And you left out a bunch of commandments, which are really interesting. How you selectively picked only 4 out of 10? Wow. You picked only 4 commandments there, buddy. I'm not even calling you buddy. Yeah. Yeah, by the way, there's 613 fucking commandments that you're supposed to live by. So good luck with all that. But yeah, he selectively picked those. So what about, is every single commandment gonna align with reality? Because what about mixing fabrics? That was against the thing. So does mixing fabric make your life worse? Eating shrimp, does that make your life worse? Because you said it was all there, right? It's all meant to be taken literally, right? Well, but see, it's not, because you don't do that. And what about the other 10 commandments? Having no other God before it. Well, the problem there is you have to already believe that that's the God, don't you? If you don't, well, how is doing that going to improve your life? Don't make any graven images. Hey, what's all over your walls there? Looks like a whole bunch of different graven images. Now, some people say, well, it's not graven images of God. Others say, no, anything and everything can be a graven image. Don't take the name of Lord God in vain. Why? Why does it matter? Why does God care? How does taking God's name in vain make my life better or worse? Demonstrate that. Hey, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Well, what does that mean? Okay, I remember that there's a Sabbath day. Woohoo. Which, by the way, should be Saturday or, well, early Friday evening. It depends. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. So, yeah. How do you keep it holy? No idea. How does that make my life better? Honoring your father and mother. Well, what if they're monsters? What if they're bad people? not bearing false witness. Well, that's he did. The whole thing was him lying this entire video, so he obviously broke that one.
It does not align with might is right. It doesn't align with paganism. It doesn't align with Islam. Islam commands people to do things that will objectively make their life worse. Like in the Quran, it tells you to drink camel urine and that will make you immune to poison. You can't find something like that in the Bible. And so why I think this proves God, right, is because how is it that this one book that was written 4,000 to 2,000 years ago. Genesis was written like 4,000 years ago. Revelation was written like 1,900 years
ago. I'm not even going to go over how wrong he is with those dates. I mean, I could. He's wrong on those dates. I just don't feel like showing how wrong he is on those dates. But he's wrong on those dates.
ago. How is it that this book, all of the wisdom in it, is still relevant to people living at least 2,000 years, if not more, since the writing of these books?
Well, a lot of it isn't relevant. You're asking a very loaded question. You're assuming that it is relevant, but a lot of it isn't. It's a static book. It's going to get outdated as time progresses. You selectively picked 4 out of 613 commandments to make your non-argument from. You did not demonstrate, at least to my satisfaction, that 2 of them were objectively true. I only agree with 2 at the best. Not killing people. Yeah, I can agree with that. But I can even say that no, there's situations that unfortunately killing somebody might be inevitable, might be the only choice you have to protect yourself, your family, friends, whatever, your country, your ideas, whatever. Or it might be accidental. Is it okay to kill somebody accidentally? Or is that still against the 10 Commandments? Doesn't clarify in the 10 Commandments. Doesn't say anything about microwaves in the Bible, or cell phones, or computers, or any of that, because it can't. It didn't know about those things, so of course it's outdated. Some things you're going to be able to extrapolate and use today, which you did. You extrapolated 4, and you said, look, these things are still valid. And it's like, yeah, maybe broadly speaking, you could get some people to agree with that. But you didn't get me to agree with that. And even if you could get all 613 commands to somehow show that they all were worth following objectively, that still wouldn't prove that the thing is true. At least not in full. It would at best prove that those ideas were true by themselves. But it wouldn't mean the rest of the book is true. See, it's a sunken, well, it's all or nothing. It's like, well, if this little bit is true, then it's all true. No. Some can be true and the rest can be false. You can find good ideas in different places. But that would require nuance and thinking, which he doesn't have.
The book of Proverbs, everything in it still applies to our lives today.
The book of Proverbs, everything applies in it today. Let's see. Book of Proverbs. Let's see. All right. So let's see. To ask a moron to quote a proverb is like putting a scalpel in the hands of a drunk. I guess that still applies today. Hire a fool or drunk and you shoot yourself in the foot. Yeah, okay. I guess I'd have to go through every single one of them to see if they apply today or not. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of these are kind of like very shallow observations. But, here's the thing again. Even if all your proverbs are still true today, that doesn't make the rest of the damn thing true. And for a huge example of that, we need to look no further than, Deacon Ferdman is going to mention the thing again. The lobsterist. Yes, the lobsterist. Yes, the lobsterist. Of course. We just need the lobsterist. Let's go. I'll check it out. Check it out, man. I will prove. Okay? The lobsterist. Lobster original beget smart thoughts, earnest rights, intelligent scientific truth. The lobsterist. Yes, it's all true. Now, let me get to the point where it has proverbs, because it does have like a proverb sort of thing in this. And these are called beget smart thoughts. Okay? All right. So these are all true and can apply today. Treat the ocean with respect. See, that's applicable today. From it you came. Technically, we came from the ocean because we were fish. Into it you will return. Well, technically, yes, that's true. So see, it applies today. Does that make the rest of it true? No. Eat only what you need. Put back more than you eat. Is that applicable today? Yes, it is. Does that make the rest of it true? No, it doesn't. You are part of the cycle of life. You're connected to the planet. Treat it well. Hey, look, that's applicable to life right now. It must mean the rest of this is true. I can keep going, but you get the point. Okay, where am I? Okay, almost done with his video. Almost done.
Everything that the Bible commands, everything that the Bible teaches is true. Whoever wrote the Bible, whatever wrote the Bible, has a great understanding of human nature,
Not really.
far beyond anything that any philosopher, that any prophet, that anyone else has come up with. And
I don't think you've read a lot of books. I've read things that are far more profound than things that I've read in the Bible. Things that blow the Bible out of the water. For example, I just learned about this recently, but scientists recently fully mapped the fruit fly's brain, like all the neurons and synapses and stuff going on. That's freaking amazing. You're not going to find anything amazing like that in the Bible. In fact, you will not find the word science, or I don't think you will find the word logic in the Bible. I might be wrong about that, but I know that you won't find the word science. So why not? It doesn't teach us a damn thing about reality. It doesn't teach us about germ theory or molecules or anything at all. We had to figure that out for ourselves. Jesus is like, don't worry about washing your hands. Yeah, Jesus also was kind of a moron, but not as big of a moron as you are.
And based on observing human nature, you cannot come to any other conclusion other than the fact that we live in a Christian reality and that
No, because you could make the same. You could draw. Well, actually, none of the things you said prove Christianity. And they prove Judaism, if anything. You said nothing about what Jesus said. Whoops! You've proven Judaism. Good job, nitwit.
humans are designed to abide by the Christian law. And if we're
you haven't demonstrated that.
designed to abide by Christian morality, then I don't think we were designed by evolution. I don't think
we weren't designed by evolution.
We were just designed by Allah. I don't think we were designed by
why not?
Odin, because they wouldn't have designed
Why not?
us to follow Christ's morality. What is the morality?
But Odin was before Judaism, so how do you know that Judaism didn't steal all its ideas from Odin? You don't know that because you're a moron.
Morality of evolution. What is the morality of nature? It's survival of the fittest. Doesn't work, right? If we were designed,
it's not just survival of the fittest, but I mean, yeah, and I mean, whatever.
By nature, there is no God. Then we should be able to arbitrarily determine what morality is. But
yeah, we can do that very easily. We don't need to posit God at all. And the problem with DCT, as I cover in my video called DCT, is that which God do you pick? Just saying, well, my morals come from God. Well, which one? Your God? Why? You haven't given us a reason. Anyone can say anything like you've said for their religion. In fact, everyone can and does. So this doesn't prove God, not even a little, and it doesn't prove you're God.
Unable to do that. We're bound to an image. We're created in the image, in the likeness of something else, and we cannot escape that. And what I argue is that we are created in the likeness of God. And
no, we're not. I mean, because God's supposed to be a non-corporeal being. So how could we be in its image when there's no image to have? Oh, well.
reason why reality seems to so perfectly mirror Christian morality is because Christianity is true. And the fact is,
well, it doesn't mirror Christianity morality, and you haven't actually given us any Christian morality. You've given us Judaism morality, and you haven't even really done that well. So, wow, you just failed on every level you could fail.
No one can dispute this. No one's going to say murder is good. No one's going to say rape is good. No one.
Well, the Bible actually doesn't condone rape. Yeah. Not in the Bible. In fact, it gives a way for rape being okay. Pay somebody off that you raped their daughter, and their daughter can marry you and all that. So, yeah, show me in the Bible where it condones rape and says that rape is bad. Good luck doing that, moron.
Who's going to say pedophilia is good? The fact that...
oh, yeah, never mentions that in the Bible either. No age of consent is in the Bible. It doesn't say when it's wrong to, you know, who to be with in that terms. So, yeah, good job. It's also not in the Bible.
Everyone by nature tries to obey Christian morality and always experience...
no, they don't, because we have other morals that are much better, and we have other ethical systems beyond DCT to rely on.
Is the effects that Christian morality says that if you sin, that you're going to die, that your life's going to get worse, and if you do good...
if you sin, you die. Well, even if you don't sin, you still die. So...
things, your life's going to get better. You're going to become healthier. That in and of itself...
yeah, but you don't get healthier by following Christianity. Like, look at your body. Like, I mean, you're pretty big guy there. I don't see, like, you don't seem to be at the peak of physical perfection there. If that was how it worked, all Christians would be, like, super healthy. But we don't see that. So what you're saying is a complete lie. Stop lying.
Proves Christianity is true without ever arguing about evolution, without ever arguing about this kalam. What even is a kalam? But I don't know. I hope this helped you. And I hope this might have given you some kind of reason to consider the things that the Bible says. So that's all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, there you go. That was the worst thing I've ever seen since the last time I saw something worse that I complained about. And I bet that next time I'll find something else much worse, probably. Well, if you've been here an hour, 11 minutes and 59... oh, damn it, it's just changed now. An hour and 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Then you've experienced the insanity as I have. And hopefully you've enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, let me know by giving me a good old comment there in the little comment section. Just say, hey, I enjoyed this. Thanks for doing it, Deconverted Man. Yeah, it just kind of keeps me going. It gives me a little endorphin or whatever the bleep the chemical is. I don't even know what it is anymore. Gives me that. I see you in chat, and I appreciate people in chat. But chat doesn't go to YouTube anymore, so nobody knows about it, and it doesn't count for YouTube, and I don't really count it. I want to see that little bell icon light up and be like, oh, I've got messages to respond to. And then I can thumb up your message. Oh yeah, I agree. I'll say something back, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that guy was a moron. Yes, you agree with me. Yay! And hey, Deconverted Man, I posted stuff on his channel and told him how stupid he was. That's great. Good times. All right, yeah. High five electronically, and then that's cool, and you can do that, and that'll make me happy. Maybe a little bit. Now, you don't have to do it, but if you do it, know that you will make me a little bit happier than I am now. Also, if you want to really show that you love me and you haven't already done it, you could buy my books, I guess. I have 2 of them, and they're books that I wrote. I'm working on another one, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it or not. Anyways, so yeah, thanks for being here and stuff and things, and post a comment, like, and subscribe. You know, whatever. I don't know. You know. Okay. Yeah. So is that it? Am I done? Am I done? I mean, I've gone an hour. I'm sure there's something else I could go over and like explode about. I could rant about some other thing. You know. But I think I'm done. I think I'm good. Yeah, I'm good for now. Okay. Be skeptical and doubt things and go explore and find out for yourself and think and reason and be skeptical. Not just because I told you, but because it might be a good idea. Maybe. I don't know. All right. Okay, I'm hitting the button now. Think it's the end now. This is it. There's no more content after this moment. Okay, there was a little bit more content, but not now. Now I'm hitting the button for real.